welcome, Heon. You and I have been close friends since we were in high school, right?
Of course.
Yeah. So please introduce yourself to our viewers, like especially Koreans who don't have like much abroad experiences.
Hi, my name is Haewon Chang, and I'm a student in Seoul National University. I'm learning French as a major, and I went to Ihwa Foreign Language High School, and yeah, I think that's
and
all.
You and I were in same high school.
Mhm.
Like we learned French language and also English, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I've heard that you once lived in Brazil. So how did you come to move to Brazil, and when was that?
It was 2015, and my my dad's company had a factory in the district, so I had to move to Brazil for 3 years. So I lived there for 2015, 16, and 17.
Wow, that's a lot, quite a lot. I see. I've never lived abroad in my whole life, so I have many curiosities about that abroad experiences. Like Brazil is a quite much far country, so I think it must have been quite hard to like solve some difficulties as an Asian, especially East Asian, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how did you feel in the beginning, like trying to settling in Brazil, like society or with friends?
First of all, in Brazil, Asians are not that rare, but there are more common Asians like Chinese.
Common Asians like
Chinese or Japanese. They're really familiar with Japanese though,
but
because
like,
Japan helped them.
Koreans were not common Asian.
Yeah.
Why?
They were not common, and especially at that time, I think the K-pop wasn't that big at the moment, because like the Billboard award of BTS was like in 2016 and 17, so it was like in the middle of the growth of K-pop.
So you're talking like in 2015, right? Like it was almost the beginning when BTS get like their popularity in South Korea, but not like that much globally. Like yeah.
So some K-pop fans recognize us as Koreans, but the others were like, are you Chinese? Are you Japanese? Like ni hao.
Oh.
And when we say we're not Chinese, they were like, oh, but you guys are the same thing, right? So
same thing what? Like Asian, same group.
You guys understand each other, right? So it was that kind of discrimination. And at school also, one time Japanese exchange students, I think, 2 of them arrived and they didn't speak English that well, but the teachers asked us to help them even though we don't speak any Japanese.
You guys cannot translate Japanese into like Brazilian language,
right? Even in English, it's hard.
Oh my god.
We didn't know any Japanese, but like I think because Brazilians can communicate with like Mexicans, Argentinians, they thought we were like the same language family or something.
Oh, so they didn't know anything about Asian language, right? So did you guys use like every time like in school only English or?
First of all, the city was close to Amazon River, so the facilities were not that good. So we had some teachers that couldn't speak English at all. So for example, like PE classes, we had that class in Portuguese. So the Korean students didn't know what to do. They were just pushed into the swimming pool, like literally into the swimming pool.
Including you, like Korean students were not able to understand anything what PE teachers say.
We just adapted to the language.
Then how did you learn like Brazilian language?
At first, I didn't know how to speak the language at all. So one time I sat with a student, but she didn't know English at all. So she asked me what my name was, but I couldn't understand. So I was like, huh? For like 10 minutes, and we stopped talking. But as the time went by, there were some students that were good at English that were helping me, and that were like really sincere. The ones who didn't speak English that well, they were really sincere, so they helped me a lot. And the teachers too.
So you achieved like learning Brazilian language and getting familiar with it? That's so nice, but I feel like sorry for you because it's really similar to the situation of Cathy Park home. Like she was suffering from her bad English, and can I say like bad Brazilian language to you? Because like she said, English was always borrowed to her, and she had learned English from hip hop songs and like Spanglish, like Spanish plus English. So you can never be perfect in Brazilian language, and I think that's kind of frustrating experience as an foreigner in the country, right?
Yeah. So when I was trying really hard to fit in, I thought I spoke like perfect Portuguese at the moment, but all of the kids were like, "Oh, you're so cute with that Korean accent in your Brazilian, like Portuguese."
Yeah.
So that was really frustrating for me. And even though I tried really hard, I had to be in the PSL class, which was Portuguese second language class.
Aww.
So it was for us and some Spanish speaking kids.
Yeah.
And some kids like rarely from Europe, they were in those classes. So we learned like an easier book, and we learned like Brazilian culture. I liked that class, but I wanted to fit in and read like the Portuguese literature like other kids.
Yeah, but like you guys were already given like some kids book or children textbook, and it gives you a feeling like you guys are isolated from the mainstream, right? And like she also said like she was trying to mimic some valley accents, are doing something like that. And I also tried to mimic some Californian accents, even though I had zero like abroad experiences. But sometimes I believe myself like, am I like using a proper English? But I think like I'm only mimicking their accents, but still I like have many grammatical errors and have some pronunciation errors even now. So yeah, that feeling is kind of strange because some other Korean students who also don't have any abroad experiences, like they always compliment me like your English is so good. But at the like class in university where all exchange students are appearing there, and their English is much better than me. I don't know why, but yeah. And at the time, like, then what is my English skill? Like, how perfect or how good am I in English? So yeah, like, have you ever felt something like that in Brazil?
Actually, one time I mimicked a Brazilian English accent, and like the teacher was saying, "Why are you talking like a Brazilian in English?"
Really? Like she directly said, "Why we're trying?"
Yeah. So, like for example, in French, like "ooh la la" is the like
idiom used by real French people, right?
I used to say "ay ay ay," which is the same thing in Portuguese.
Yeah.
And I was like, in Portuguese they always say "e" in the last accent, so like K-pop becomes K-poppy.
K-poppy?
Yeah.
Alrighty. Yeah.
And I used to speak those things like K-poppy, that kind of way. So it's kind of cringe right now, but yeah, I was trying really hard to fit in.
I don't want to say like your attempt is cringe, but yeah, like in overall outcome is cringe, right? Like even in using in English, I sometimes hate my Korean accents, but it can be like a privilege at the same time because it's my identity and I was born and raised in Korea, but why am I keep trying to have a Bali accent and using English, right? That's kind of cringe. But I at the same time understand why people are trying to mimic the foreigners, like natives accent, because when you use native accents, natives get much like favorable to you. right?
We just experienced it here in
Yeah,
France.
yeah, because actually I'm not good at speaking French like Hewon. Like Hewon is learning
majoring
French
in
and
French,
yeah,
so-
in her faculty. So when we like rode the taxi and the taxi driver wanted to ask something like, "Where are you from?" in English, but she said like, "Oh, I can speak French," and then the driver was suddenly like grinned a
Smiling,
lot, and
yeah.
the small talk started for a long time. And
Yeah, like what are you learning?
Yeah.
And this is the ambulance,
Yeah.
and he taught us about the roads.
Yeah,
of
so
France.
we were so shocked because everyone who visited Paris, like many people said, they are not kind and
Yeah.
they don't like foreigners, they don't like English users, but even like we were really Asian looking
Yeah.
people, but only because of the reason that we can use and speak in French makes our image really familiar to the natives, right?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for sharing your emotions in Brazil and Paris. If you don't mind, I would really appreciate it if you tell me something more, something deeper stories in your Brazil life, because you said there were some discriminations by them. So yeah, it would be a great start to open our discussions leading to the culture and some opportunities. So yeah, let's begin with discrimination you have suffered from there. Yeah.
First of all, you guys know that mimicking hand gestures for Asians like this,
Yeah.
I really didn't like it that back then, and I also don't like it right now, but like they didn't think it was discrimination, but every time I walked by like at the restaurant or like at the shopping mall or even at school, they were like this.
Even
And-
strangers?
Yeah, even strangers.
People
like
who you met in...
I was 11 at the time. I was a little kid, and one like adult man was doing this to me while he was walking.
Really?
So I was really intimidated by him.
But
Like many people
yeah.
were like that. Or the ni hao. Like they don't care where you're from. You're Asian, ni hao. That's all.
Asians, ni hao. What the formula? So
when we say we're not Chinese, then they just say konnichiwa, I don't care, and then go.
Oh, like even in here, like in France, some people say to us, if we say we are Korean, like 안녕하세요 or 감사합니다 in Korean language, but in the past, like 2015 to 2017, everyone would not know like what 안녕하세요 is because there were no K-pop demon hunters and there were no BTS popularity in global
Blackpink.
Yeah. So yeah. So what was their intention by using this kind of gesture?
I think they were having fun, cause like I don't think they have a malicious like racism, because Brazilians kind of hate racism against like black people and indigenous people, and the neighborhood I lived in, there were more indigenous people than other cities because it's close to the Amazon River. And so I think they aren't racist by doing that, but they were just simply having fun. Because one time, one of my closest friends did that as a joke to me, and I was like really furious, and I get mad to her and said, "Why are you doing this? That is so racist." And she was like, "What is racist about this? You guys just simply look like this, and we were describing you." I mean, what? So it doesn't make sense at all.
I guess you guys were also educated about how bad racism is and what is racism, right? But I want to ask, like, the education itself was not focused to Asians, but focused to some black people or their culture?
I think it's not the education itself, but rather the atmosphere there, where like, especially in United States of America too, when you shame black people, then there's like a history book, really thick history book following up to you and say that you guys should not disrespect black people. But they don't have that against Asians, and Asians abroad are like really rich people most of the time because they are really hardworking and stuff. So I think they think it's okay to discriminate Asians because we're smart and rich and
Oh.
they think we're
Oh,
like
like
that.
you're meaning that we like Koreans have a kind of smart and good image and they're industrious people, so it is okay to describe their lifestyle and their appearances.
Yeah, I think they don't recognize that describing other cultures when they're not part of it is actually discrimination.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So they had learned about Black people history, and I think Black people history in you guys' textbook was almost about like some slavery and slave trade. So maybe like that kind of negative. I couldn't say like negative in this context, but you know what I mean, like this kind of sad story about Black people may contributed to like Brazilians perspective about Black people. Like Black people were like enslaved in the past, so we can't or we must not discriminate them, but it's okay to discriminate against Asians because they literally don't know anything about Asian history or Korean history.
And also, many Black people are already part of the Brazilian community. Like there are a lot of mixed people in Brazilian communities, and also white people, but they kind of know that they're like sorry to them. But for Asians, they have nothing to be sorry for, and we're kind of like strangers, not fit in like fully, you know. So for me, I was Korean and I was gonna leave in 3 years, and most of the people that I know that were Asians were like that, or just they have Brazilian nationality, but the Brazilian friends don't think they have Brazilian nationalities because of their look.
Only because of their appearance, even though they have nationality of Brazilian, right?
I also have a Japanese and Brazilian mixed friend, and she seemed to fit in okay because I think her grandfather was Japanese, but like, so she has a half appearance of Asian and Western people.
Oh my god! So,
but us, we were just fully Asian.
It was all about appearance in the time, but like in 2000, after 2020 or 2018, like it's not totally okay to like discriminate or guessing their nationality only by their appearances, right?
Yeah, I think after BTS, people started to care more about Korea, so
I
they
think
were
it's the
like
power of culture.
Yeah. Before that, people used to ask me whether I was from North or South Korea.
It depends on your behavior.
Yeah.
So honestly, like I was always jealousy of somebody who had many like abroad experiences like you, but now I'm really careful to say that because all of your like experience that you had to figure out how to deal with, like even your close friends who are doing some offensive gestures to you, So I believe I was also unaware of some global discrimination. I was always focused on like how domestic people discriminate against foreigners, like who visiting the Korea. So I think it's great opportunity to talk with you because we had some different kinds of privileges and opportunities in culture or maybe some context about language. So from this perspective, like let's frankly speak about how privileged we are. Like I mean, like we are not bourgeois or something, but it's true that we graduated from some specialized high school in Korea. Like many people call us like elite, and we succeed to enter the university like after the trying CSAT for only one time, and you are into Seoul University. I
Yeah.
hate saying this, and I know you hate hearing this, but yeah, in this perspective. So yeah, what were the some benefits or opportunities you like feel in your daily lives, and how they were helpful to figuring out in this country, like I mean South Korea?
First of all, after my Brazilian trip, I guess I would say it like that. After that, I was so like offended by other Koreans because they were so into the studying, like they were so focused in studying, and I did nothing, like literally nothing when I was there, and they go to so much hagwons. Especially I live in a district where there are so many hagwons, so I was kind of offended by that. But at the same time, my English was better than them, so like I guess that was a win for me.
Oh, so it was like zero sum because
Yeah.
you haven't studied a lot at that time, but at the same time you had some
Benefits.
better English skills, and
Yeah.
you were internally feeling that, oh, I'm better in this aspect.
Yeah. So like many Korean people are struggling to like speak out in English even though they have English skills. But I wasn't afraid that much because I used to be in an international high school, and also I had to learn Portuguese to fit in. So after that, I wanted to go to foreign language high school because of that experience, because I recognized that I loved learning new languages. So after that, I applied to Ewha Girls Foreign Language High School, and then I started learning French because Portuguese was similar, and I had the chance to learn French for one semester when I was in elementary school in Brazil. So yeah, it was a beginning of my French journey.
Yeah, so like the term you used, like journey, like it's really kind of similar to the notion of habitus, because your previous experience shape your tastes. Like if you were not able to go to Brazil or learn some new languages, you would never like be interested in entering to foreign language high school. And I know many other Korean students who regret their decisions because they did not know like their existence itself of foreign language high schools and how better the education than there were. And yeah, the previous experience and the opportunities you unintentionally get from your backgrounds or your families are really important in that way. So how they affect like even your today's life as a university student?
First of all, my major is French, so like the Brazil journey affected my whole life at this point, because I wouldn't have selected this major if I was not in foreign language high school. And if I was not in foreign language high school, then maybe I would study math and then hated math and then give up like studying. So I think it's affected like who I am. And also like in university, I tend to like to make like exchange students friends. So I was part of a club called Isaac.
Oh, like very international club. Like there are many foreigners.
Yeah. So we brought people from like abroad, and then they volunteer in Korea. So we did like English camp for like middle school and high school students. So I like culturally educating other people and be educated. They were like Indonesian friends and
Oh,
Czech Republic
that's
friends,
interesting.
Switzerland friends, and all of them. And I got influenced by them, and then take like Indonesian courses in
Oh,
Seoul National
everything
University.
is interrelated.
Yeah.
Like your choices were kind of destined to
Mhm.
do so, and yeah, I actually like in the beginning of my university life, I was not able to make many Korean friends because they were so different from students in Ihwa Foreign Language High School. Yeah, in many ways they were so different. But when I met some exchange students or foreign students in KU, Korean University, I felt so comfortable, and I also made a lot of friends like whose mother tongue is not Korean, but it's at the same time like I feel some superiority to frankly speaking because even though I failed to make many Korean friends, but I'm still better than them because I have many global friends. But sometimes I feel like I am being too like bourgeois minded and like I'm looking down on some others who were not able to make exchange students as their friends because their English skill was kind of lacking. So yeah, every experience I received as an opportunity shaped my taste and even my familiarity with foreigners in my university. So, do you think you are privileged? Like, honestly speaking.
Yeah.
Really?
Because first of all, when I went to live in Brazil, that was because of my dad's company. And second of all, the foreign language high school is like the costs of it, and then the hagwons you have to go to keep up with the studies.
Yeah.
I think like even though we can enter the foreign language high school with other like how do you call it?
It is kind of affirmative action because their backgrounds are not same as ordinary or so-called ordinary people. Like
for example, when you have like many kids, or when you're
his or her family,
or
disabled,
like
or their ancestors had like participated in Korean War or something.
So when you get in by that, there are gonna be discriminations inside the high school because like the rich kids, they seem to know like the other students' taste or like the clothes they're wearing, even though we had the uniform, like the shoes, it was all ours.
It reveals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like the rich kids, they went to vacation like to Hawaii or something during summer vacation, and the other students were like going to Hawon or something. So it kind of revealed who was really rich or not.
It's kind of funny because we need to study a lot to go into SNU or KU or Yonsei University, but rich kids do not care about studying. It's kind of ridiculous and very contradictory because it's not the rich students who are studying passionately. It's kind of ordinary students, right?
Yeah.
They can like study abroad if they want.
Yeah. Also, at that point, I think I am privileged, but like even though you're not rich, you can still be privileged.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you are privileged. Yeah. So I was so shocked by your answer because many students, so-called elite, even though they're called elite, but they still believe themselves as a very ordinary student or very ordinary Asian who had not that much experience in global aspect. But it's true that we are kind of privileged because we graduated foreign language high school and we had some opportunity to learn French, even though we studied hard to get entered into that kind of high school, but we have to pay the tuition fee to them, and we also had to know about information like how to get into foreign language high school, and some families who are busy were not able to care about their kids like who want to go to foreign language high school, right? So like the Precariat that can speak, that readings I gave to you, and like the author Mun Young said, like she is a professor and her students were in SNU, same as you, but many students were talking that they are unprivileged because the employment rate is so declining, and it's true, right? But it doesn't mean that we are unprivileged. So yeah, this kind of contradictory outcome was what she wanted to say in this reading. So how do you feel about like current Korean employment market or your status as an elite university student?
Like, it depends on what job I'm gonna have. Like, for example, if I'm gonna have a French language related job, I'm gonna be like super privileged because in the aspect of like French educating universities, SNU is the highest in Korea, so I'm gonna be super privileged and I can afford to go to exchange student to France or something. I am in France right now and stuff. So I think I'm privileged at that point, but for example, if I'm gonna be a lawyer or something like that, we still have to try, and I don't know if you know the fact that SNU Law School only have like some part of some ratio about their own students, and the other have to be other university students that have to be there. So
like almost 100 students are from SNU and like about 50 students are from other universities, but you still think this is kind of unfair because they had some certain ratio they have to comply to.
So like many students are trying to get into SNU Law School, like my friends, but sometimes they get blocked because the ratio is not for them.
Oh my god.
So like I think at that point the major doesn't matter anyway. So it depends on the place you're working in.
It's interesting because I think almost 99% of Korean university students said like SNUs are so good at like prioritizing their students, but what are KU doing? Something like that. And we were kind of really envy of like SNU law schools that ratio policy, because KU law school has even like much smaller ratio for their students. It is really a paradox because there are some students who are trying to pay their students loans, and some students who have to work at 고깃집 or like cinema in Korea. But you and I are able to do some tutorings, like sit in this comfortable place and just teach, and we get 3만 원 in an hour.
For me it's double because it's French.
Because it's French. It's really.
But I do more work.
It's
you know.
Yeah, I know, but like it's really. I think it's harder to work in 고깃집 because your wrist will be really sick,
100%.
and there are many 진상 customers.
And it's also hard to get the job because they all want people with experience, but all of the people are like 신입.
Yeah, really. So like one student in Mun Young Cho's essay said like he feels some reality that class mobility is almost impossible by education. Like, do you agree to that statement?
Yeah, because
Really?
in SNU,
Mm.
I think there are many rich students.
Really? Oh.
Some students I saw that weren't rich were there because they hated the family and they really wanted to leave. I saw some students like that. And they were trying really hard, and they, even though they were able to tutor other students, they still have to like earn the money for their tuition fee and like their family or something. But like the other students that their family is stable, they don't have to care much about the tuition fee or something like that. They just have to earn money so
as
they
an allowance.
Yeah. So they could travel to friends like us or something like that.
And
so
gather some money. Like it's not like it doesn't have to be spent right away as a tuition fee or some life spending, but using as a travel fee or some budget for stock market, something else. Yeah.
And also the dormitory for us, if we don't live in Nowon or Dobonggu in Seoul, we can't even apply to the dormitory.
So they have to
live by themselves, or
but like, or say like, I mean the fee you have to pay a month is really high. Yeah. So yeah, overall class mobility, I think class mobility is feasible by some stacking money or having some professional skills, but some rich kids like are only able to spending their money less than some physically unstable students. And also like about professional skills, they don't have much time to do some club activities or joining some studying club. How do we call that? Hakue in SNU and KU. I think people doing hakue is not doing part-time job. Right? Yeah. They
have a lot to do, and they write papers
it's
and
all intertwined with opportunities and your backgrounds, right?
Also, like I mentioned, the dormitory. Almost all of the students I know that aren't in the dormitory takes like an hour and 30 minutes from the subway or the bus.
Hour and 30 minutes.
Yeah.
To go there.
Because Seoul National University is literally on the mountain.
Oh, yeah.
So it takes 30 minutes from the subway station of Seoul National University. So like from that perspective, me too, I spend 3 hours a day to go to school and go home.
Oh.
So that's a lot of time to waste.
Yeah.
And other students that are more far, like sometimes Incheon, they don't get to live in the dormitory. They would spend like 4 hours a day just to get to school.
Oh, I feel sad for them because I also do the so-called 통학, like it's kind of similar to commuting, but I have to in metro only for 15 minutes, and excluding the town bus, I have to spend like 25 minutes in the metro or subway, but you spend like an hour in metro, so yeah. I think you're kind of unprivileged in that way because your university is the top in the mountains. So I think it's time to organize our thoughts and some conclude. I think it is not possible to conclude or like suggesting some answers to issues, but I mean like saying or organizing like what did we feel by this conversation. So I think some quotes on like Returning to Reims by Didier Eribon will be a lot helpful to organize your thoughts. So I think this quote is kind of interesting because it is really similar to the environment we experienced in the past as a foreign language high school students, because there were some physical or gaps in their attitudes even among the students there, like the value placed on sports and on masculinity in the world of the popular classes, values he admits full subscribes to, would have seemed to destine him for just such a reputation, although he does mention rejecting the anti-intellectualism of those who shared these values with him. So are you for like intellectualism? No.
I hate the word
Yeah.
intellectualism.
Yeah, but
because
you-
once
yeah.
a really close friend of mine called me, I had intellectualism and elitism, and then cut me off.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I hate the word intellectualism. And, like, I think the notion of that is really dumb. Because,
It's
like,
dumb, but it's true that we are getting benefited from that one line of university where we're studying in, and how should we deal with this contradiction?
I think the ones that are getting opportunities have to admit that they are having opportunities and acknowledge and try to help those who aren't, instead of like, no, I don't have opportunities because some of the students have more opportunities than me.
Like living in dormitory.
Yeah. And also the people who don't have opportunities, I think they also have to stop blaming the people who have the opportunities. And like, I know that they're working hard, but sometimes I think some people blame others a lot that they don't catch the opportunities that they have.
So it's kind of different from the jealousy feelings, right?
Yeah.
Then, like, why are they kept blaming you for having those qualities? Like, I don't understand. I don't get it. Like, I think it all comes from like inferiority complex or something like that. But
sometimes they're just tired of Korean society and they just wish to live like a different past than they have. So in that perspective, I don't think they're like jealous of me and like they hate me for because I lived in Brazil, but they just want that opportunity for themselves and wish that their present changed because of that.
Also, some structural problem exists in South Korea. The South Korea is problem. Okay. And like going back to your past Brazil or Portuguese or some discriminatory experience, like there are some other quotes, like I will read it. And what about the matter of bilingualism? Speaking Bearnese with his father and French at school, of the accent he devoted himself to correcting once he had moved to Paris, an accent that would occasionally crop up again here and there in conversation. So I will explain this context, like his friend was bilingual and the protagonist was not, and he was kind of, it's not kind of jealousy feeling, but I think it's kind of sadness because he is in the same group of elite students, but he doesn't think himself as an elite because he can't use some elite language. And
I think he feels isolated.
Yeah, so you
like
read it all and you also felt the same way with me. And you are able to use what kind of languages?
So I can speak Korean and English quite fluent, and maybe French also. And I kind of can listen to Portuguese, but I'm not sure of speaking it.
Yeah.
And I've learned Indonesian
Yeah.
and a little bit of Spanish.
This is so like total 6. How do we call like 6? Like in like the term bilingual has a bi as a 2.
Mhm.
So what is the word for 6 language user? Okay. So,
Multilingual.
so yeah, you are multilingual, and like everyone will praise you as a multilingual, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it is some accumulation of discriminations and some confusions by using multi-languages, because it is really hard to divide all the languages you are already known like and learned
And
right?
maintain all of them.
Yeah.
Because when I'm like progressing in French, my Portuguese levels go down because they're similar and I get confused all the time, and the other way around. So
like, what about the cultural experiences in the process of learning new language?
So, for example, English, there are so many English speaking countries out there. So, and I've learned English when I was really young, so I didn't feel really offended by English. But in French, for example, we learned quite French, right? Not the other kind of like, for example, Quebec French or like
you mean like
other
the original
French,
traditional French.
We learned the textbook French in
textbook
French. So, like at that perspective, we learned a lot of French cultures that we weren't familiar about, and it's so different from Korea. Like they prioritize the work and life balance and like resting, vacation, and Korean people do not.
They even care about the order of eating. Like you have to use small dish and small spoon for puddings, and you have to use some you have to drink some red wine with beef, and you have to drink white wine with fish.
Yeah. And we had to memorize all of that for exams.
Yeah, and when we were in the airplane, like coming here, you drank white wine. And you said like, oh, it's what was that, like Chardonnay, and I said like what what, and you said like it's one kind of white wine, and I was so surprised because I have zero knowledge about wines, and I think this is some gap among us. But like it's not big gap, but they're still like habitus is acting for even 2 of us. Like there must be some other field that you don't know, but I know, but I don't know, but you know.
For example, I haven't been to Italy. This is my first day in Europe. And when you said you went to Italy, I was like, oh, it's so cool.
So like there can't be some commonalities to talk with, because you said like Chardonnay, and I'm like, oh, cool. And then you said like, oh, I said like Italian. You only like able to say, oh, interesting. Right?
But it was nice to know about.
So thanks a lot again. And I also believe like sharing others' experiences and admitting some differences by innate or opportunities, some opportunities possible by your families or your backgrounds, and it can be a much more lighter way to approach. Like you can speak nearby someone's experiences, right? So if I summarize our discussion with one word, I think it's reproduction. Like I said, like your opportunities bore another opportunities and bore another choices, and this choice bores another opportunities and experience, something like that. So and it's and the cause of this reproduction would be like social structure, like how hard to get a job in as an elite student in South Korea and how to make some Korean or exchange student as your university friend, right? And of course, like with influences of media, which enabled BTS and Korean culture to be famous, like recently K-pop Demon Hunters. So it may sound too typical, but what I am like trying to say here is the media effect is larger, even though I think we were way more focused to talk only about our experiences, but the media was acting really hard in our behind and it helped a lot to like where we're from and we say like Korea and oh BTS or oh K-pop, something like that.
Instead of which one?
Yeah, like
North or South?
Yeah, something like so yeah, Hyewon, it was really nice and rich conversation with you, and I am truly grateful to participate this conversation even you are traveling here with me. Yeah, thank you. And we were Hyewon and Nayun in Paris. Thanks a lot to everyone for watching and see you in next episode. Bye. Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.